This is E.T. This is Vitali Klitschko, the greatest heavyweight of the modern era since Sullivan, in my opinion. Standing 6 feet 7 inches, weighing usually around 240 pounds, he is the current mayor of Kiev, capital and largest city in war-torn Ukraine. Klitschko was formerly a member of the Ukrainian parliament, and he was slated to become Ukraine's president. He may yet become president. And he's holder of multiple World Heavyweight Championship titles. Now keep in mind, George Foreman was considered ancient when he returned to the ring in 1987 at age 38. Vitali was 42, still at the top of his game, and at the time he had been consumed by politics for years, almost a decade. He'd already run twice to be Kiev'S mayor. He didn't make it the first 2 times. He had led the Orange Revolution in 2004, which got Viktor Yushchenko elected president then. Boxing, what I'm saying, was more of a hobby for Vitali Klitschko, while politics was consuming his time and energy. Vitali Klitschko was unique for other reasons too. He and his brother Vladimir, also a heavyweight title holder, were sons of a Ukrainian hero, Major General Vladimir Klitschko, whose leadership over the first days of the Chernobyl disaster cleanup resulted in his death by cancer. Vitali's unique too because both he and Vladimir were formally educated, both earning doctoral degrees. Vitali is fluent in 4 languages. He is known as a competitive chess player. You see him here with Vladimir Kramnik. Kramnik defeated Garry Kasparov to become world champion. Nobody tops Vitali Klitschko as a boxer turned politician. Now, it's true, a few amateur boxers have done well in boxing. Teddy Roosevelt, for instance, a welterweight. Senator John McCain. Tommy Douglas in Canada was an amateur lightweight champion in the 20s. He later became premier of Saskatchewan. And other professional boxers have done well in politics. Most famous under Klitschko would be Manny Pacquiao, a member of the Philippine Senate, maybe a future president of the Philippines. There was Alex Arguello. He, after retiring from the ring, was elected mayor of Managua in Nicaragua, but he committed suicide months into office. There was Dan Mandel. He fought for the Canadian middleweight title. Later, he's on the Canadian cabinet. And then there's former heavyweight champion, I think he held the WBA title, Nikolai Valuev, the largest champion ever, 7 feet, 300 plus pounds. He served in the Russian State Duma, or Congress. But no fighter, aside from Pacquiao, has, number 1, been considered for his country's presidency. And both, by the way, have a good chance of being elected. And number 2, has pursued a political boxing career simultaneously. Vitali, as I mentioned, was years into politics while he was active as a boxer. Nobody, number 3, has served in a country so politically dangerous and corrupt as is Ukraine, in a near state of anarchy, and Vitali, keep in mind, is now fighting as mayor in invading Russian army. Nobody, number 4, has achieved expertise such as Vitali in other intellectual endeavors. For instance, chess, fluency in multiple languages. Now, true, Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali were active politically, but it was symbolically. It had to do with the civil rights campaigns, anti-war movement for Ali. They were not directly involved in politics. And there was former light heavyweight and heavyweight champion Gene Tunney, very well read. He'd be often quoting Shakespeare. He married a rich socialite. They produced offspring who did well in politics. Now, that includes United States Senator John Tunney of California. But Gene Tunney never himself held office. So, no boxer comes even close to Vitali Klitschko's political performance, influence, education, and smarts. But what about his boxing dominance? Was he the best? Well, his ring career began in 1996. It ended 2013. That's 17 years. He retires age 42. Despite all the diversions and interruptions, his success never faltered. That is extremely rare. You look at Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali, rather short careers of that preternatural dominance. Vitali was the same when he started and when he left boxing. His success never faltered. Ali remained undefeated from only 1960 to 71. That's when he lost first to Joe Frazier. He was only 29. He went on to lose 3 more times before he retired. I believe Ali was 39 in 1981. Now, true, Ali's career was interrupted during his prime by his resistance to the draft. Joe Louis was active from 1934 to 52. Was it 52 or 51? I can't remember. Write it in below. He retired at age 37. Joe Louis, had been outpointed and then knocked out by Max Schmeling in 1936. Louis was in his prime at age 22. He later lost to Ezzard Charles by decision, then Marciano by knockout. Joe Louis, was behind on points to Billy Conn until Conn tried to slug it out with Joe. Now, I'm not saying anything to denigrate Joe Louis's record. It was phenomenal, especially since it was interrupted by World War II. Sergeant Joe Louis trained soldiers and performed in the ring, but that absence from training had to have had an effect, negative effect, on his conditioning and timing. But Vitali Klitschko has to remain, in my mind, the absolute dominant figure, retiring at 42 and still fighting like he did when his prime, dominating the division. So there you have it. Proof, in my opinion, that Vitali Klitschko was the greatest heavyweight since Sullivan. Greatest because he dominated his division for almost 2 decades, remaining as strong as ever while pursuing a political career, and because he was and remains extremely well-educated, talented, multilingual, top chess player, holder of a PhD degree, who during the current war with Russia may be the second most important individual in Ukraine next to Zelensky himself, who, by the way, Vitali does not like. And that's it. Write in your comments below. Share this video on social media. Hit the bell icon to be notified of new uploads. And it's important to like the video too. Thank you.